the Rory Thor match. They're in the decider there. So they're sort of creeping in. There's a good crowd in tonight, which is nice to see. And many of them supporting John Higgins, of course, on home soil. Been a slight delay, only about 15 minutes. Haotian, 35 in the world, coming in. Higgins just slipped back to number 12. We were talking about this last night. Points coming off from 2 years ago. He battled through well. It wasn't vintage Higgins. He sort of kept breaking down, but he got the job done. That's the bottom line. He's still here. And this, as he said in the interview, Alan said to him, if he can get through tonight into the best of nines, into the final weekend, then maybe his experience will come to the fore.
That was a little bit wayward, I think. I believe he went for the pot there, but it wasn't close. Yeah, in the last night's match, the decider, Ricky Walden got his snooker and was in the process of clearing, but he missed the black to get to the yellow, and that was the end of the match. He conceded, but he was in with a squeak there at the end, Walden.
The winner of the match will play Tom Ford on Martin O'Donnell, who are on table 2. Sanderson, Lam and Anthony McGill on table 3, and then waiting to start on table 4, Noppen Senkarm and Matt Selt. In this half of the draw, John Higgins is the only top 16 player. Looking tonight to reach ranking event quarter-final number 137.
I think John was right when he mentioned Lou Haotian, how he kind of, amongst all the promising players from Asia, you know, he sometimes does go under the radar, but he is very good. And as Dave said, he has a win against O'Sullivan. He's kind of difficult player to weigh up, because you'd see him walk off the table, he wouldn't necessarily know if he'd won or lost. There's not many emotions. Even when he beat O'Sullivan, there wasn't even a glimmer, really. He just won the match. It's like another day at the office for him. But, of course, beating John Higgins would, especially here in Scotland, would be a big deal for him. But he's a tough read, you know. He just plays well, and he just keeps himself to himself. He's quiet. Got a good all-round game as well. It's not easy to assess what his particular strengths and weaknesses are. But he can certainly play. Awkward, really, with the red towards the right middle, as to know how this is going to go, because neither player can risk leaving it. Possible plant to right middle here. No, he looked at it and changed his mind. Either it's a plant or John's looking at the two reds onto the red near the pocket. Be some plant in-off combo, this. I think that's what he tried rather than the direct plant. He's somehow found a way of knocking the brown in, which was not really anyone's bingo card as to what would happen there. Brown going in.
Haotian beat Joe Perry to qualify. He's beaten Jackson Page and Lu Hongyu here this week in Edinburgh. Higgins only lost one frame in his first two matches, but then that was the battle with Ricky Walden last night. That ended quarter to one. Well, the Reds down in bulk just creating this little stalemate here.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many reds that you could leave. The red near the middle is still there. And like you say, all those reds to the right top pocket. And when a chance comes, you'd expect it to be a good one. Oh, has he left anything up the table here? Maybe John can get to that red at a long range.
Yeah, it's a mistake from Lu Haotian for sure to leave that on.
Going to say that, yeah. I mean, it's a fairly big area to get those reds covered by the bunch.
Green ball.
Bit of pressure on this shot on the green though now, because this is not simple mid-range. I think the green, when respotted, is going to get in the way of red to left middle. No.
Four.
So he's kind of won the first exchange in safety, and now he's got to go on and press on and capitalise on the chance that's come his way because of it.
I think if you're a John Higgins fan, you'd have been cheered by the interview we did with Alan, because we've seen a few players, even winners, sort of a bit downbeat this week. But even though there were times when he struggled last night and he made a few errors and he wasn't clinical, he was clearly pleased to get the win. It was a tough encounter, and he's just looking at the positives, but he won't be looking at them missing that black. That's not the sort of ball you expect anyone to miss, let alone John Higgins.
No, just caught the near jaw, didn't it? Yeah, I couldn't imagine John missing those. Hand on the table, black off the spot, albeit a bit above the usual line.
Free. 4. Eight. Nine.
It was the Wuhan Open where he beat O'Sullivan, and that was in the quarterfinals. Ali Khan's beat him in the semis. He was a quarterfinalist at the European Masters. Got to the last 16 of the International, so he's won quite a few matches in big events this season.
Yeah, he could really do with getting the black on his spot, I think. At the moment, he's going to have to make do with smaller value colours to follow the reds. Again, he's going up for a bulk colour here. I don't think he tried to go anywhere near the blue. Quite straight on that. It was a good cueing shot to screw back for the red.
18. I
suppose you could play on the red up the table off the green, but he would be having to use the rest as a right-handed player. I've not seen him use his opposite hand to any degree in his career, so either that or he could try and make something happen at the amongst the reds behind the pink. I think he's doing the latter. I think he's trying to play off the cushion into the bunch. That's very good. I mean, he could hardly have played it better. Terrific shot.
22.
That was a positive shot to play. He could have just skirted around the issue and played the red on the cushion at the other end in bolt, but that wouldn't have really solved much in the long term. Short term gain of a few points. Now he's put himself very much into a chance of winning the frame. Black on its spot here. Red surrounding pink and black. Great opportunity.
Yes, and John Higgins had the opportunity first up, but of course missed the black off the spot
30.
very unexpectedly. That's the thing. I said he looked positive coming in, and he did, but you know, it doesn't always take that long for that sort of bubble to be burst. The miss on the black was hard to explain, really.
$38. 39.
Lou Haotian has been in a ranking final, the 2019 Indian Open, lost to Matt Selt. Still a young man. He's only 26. We've seen him from a very young age when he was a wild card in various Chinese ranking events.
46.
In fact, he reached the quarterfinals in 2012 at the International
47.
Championship as a wild card. He was only 14.
I remember it very well. Lost to Neil Robertson, and at that point you felt the sky was the limit, but he stopped playing actually after that for a while. Story goes that his headmaster persuaded him to start playing again.
54.
He went back to school after his early experiences. So he kind of come out of retirement, I think about age 15 or 16.
Traditionally the other way around, isn't it? Normally they're trying to stop you playing snooker.
Yeah, well, he obviously had a very big talent for the game, and you know, he's made a decent career. But you know, a victory this weekend for him would be the next step by some margin. Good start he's made.
Yeah, Higgins already needing snooker, so the miss on the black was costly for four-times world champ.
62.
Not least because Lu Haotian had made the safety error, leaving the red to the green pocket. But Higgins made little impact after that.
63. $69. 70.
Well, that's the red that's been there all the way through up the table. So he could have played it a lot earlier, but the shot he played was the right one. Now, of course, it's a question of how many he makes with the frame long since won. And also that Higgins miss.
$77.
So he didn't push the boat out there. This was the black. I've seen a couple go in off that jaw, but of course it's not right, and it didn't hit it well enough for it to drop.
$80. 82. $85. 89.
And can he knock this in? Get on the pink for the century. Not quite, but a fine 89. The key thing is he punished the John Higgins miss on the black, which was very unexpected. And Lu Haotian off and running here this evening, leading 1-0. John Higgins 0.
Thank you. Second frame.
Lu Haotian
John
1
Higgins to break.
here as the last 16 gets underway. Gary Wilson we saw win earlier. I can tell you he'll be playing Thor Chian Leong, better known as Rory Thor, who has brought the hammer down on Ashley Carty. 4-3. It took a while. It's just finished. So that means that Noppen Senkam and Matt Selt in due course can start on table 4. Well, Lu Haotian in the first frame served notice to Higgins that if he makes elementary errors, they're going to be punished.
Well, he get through to the potting angle. As you can see, the brown's not in the way of that. Wow, very good. He was right behind the line of it. Sometimes I think brown just being alongside it, but not in the way. It can be a bit of a guide. Just get the cue ball past the brown, and you fancy the potting angle comes more naturally. I think the bottom red is on, the one directly above the black.
8. Touching ball.
Well, that was a very good chance. He was having to stretch across the table quite a lot on that shot.
One.
Yeah, shaking his head. He's lost the cue ball. And that'll annoy him because it was his chance to strike back there after Haotian broke down unexpectedly.
Yeah, he can't cut this in. He's finished nowhere.
Higgins 1.
Might have heard a bit of a sickening bang of the table a few moments ago, and it was actually Anthony McGill on the next table who gave the snooker table a bit of a right hander, having missed an easy ball. Not something I've ever seen him do before. I think it might be on the brink of him going 2-0 down, might be the clue.
Well, Haotian, I think, felt like doing similar there, missing that red.
One.
Well, this is a good opportunity now. Yes, the blue is away from his spot, but there is a red over the pocket. Not an absolutely gilt-edged one just yet, but it is an in early in the second frame.
It's one of those intriguing sort of meetups between a vastly experienced player and a not quite a rising star, because he's been around a while, but certainly a much younger man. I mean, John Higgins, by the time Haotian was born, had won 5 ranking titles. And of course, he's got 31 to his name in total, plus all the rest of the things he's won. 54 titles in total in the professional game.
7.
I mean, look, the class of 92, you know, Mark Williams, Ronnie O'Sullivan and John Higgins, they're still terrific players. O'Sullivan, the UK champion just the other day, and British Open winner Mark Williams. No obvious decline in any of them, really. The odd little bit. But there's one thing that you cannot deny, is that at some point their game will decline, all 3 of them, because they can't go on forever. Much as we think they might, they just aren't going to. So at some point, the edge will go off of their games. John's might be going a little bit.
13.
But he's still, you know, good enough to beat most players on the tour.
Yeah, I think inconsistency has crept in, but certainly if he can produce his best, then he can absolutely beat anybody. It's whether he can do it match after match in a tournament. Which, as you get to the latter stages, of course, in theory, you've got to raise your game.
14.
I think he still enjoys it, though. That's half the battle. There's been times in a long career where he's enjoyed it more than other times, but right now he seems to be really enjoying it. He's got some of his family here tonight as well, which always makes a difference to how you want to play.
Would certainly send out a message if he was to make a considerable score here, I think.
20.
Maybe to himself as much as anyone else. Been on comms for John's last 2 matches, and
21.
yes, he's got through. He was a bit annoyed with his win against Haotian the other night. With his 4-1 win, didn't please him. I think he was more relieved at beating Ricky Walden, who he knew would give him a very hard game. Went to a decider. Tonight is a similar story, really. A
27.
game that he will be expected to win, but knows he's not a certainty to win by any means. So, top side of the blue.
28.
Yeah, I mean, the angle he's got here, it could be that he swings the cue ball around 2 cushions into the bunch. Certainly he can force it. Cue ball will go close to the left corner, or the bottom left as we look. Well, too close to that corner pocket, actually. So he hasn't put the frame away by any means. If anything, he's left himself a little bit of a tricky safety shot now.
John Higgins, 33. Touching ball.
Handy red to knock in that, even if it doesn't amount to anything. Round to middle, probably if he's got a shot to get down for a red, he'll play it. Rolling up to a colour wouldn't be necessarily a big advantage. The escape would be not a difficult one. And I think over on the left side, a choice of a couple of reds. Yeah, he's got the angle. Nice shot. Confidently played.
5. Six.
Well, Haotian made a bright start, but has made a few errors since, it's got to be said. Just allowed Higgins to regain his footing a little bit after that unexpected miss black off the spot in frame 1.
12.
So the key shot coming up here.
Yeah, I think he'll just try and brush off the right side of the bunch and get 1 or 2 out. I think he'll go really hard into them just to nudge some balls into play. Oh, goodness, though. That will make him incensed, missing those.
Higgins first.
It is the cardinal sin, really, on that shot to take your eye off or lose concentration on the pot. Especially when you're breaking the reds for your opponent then. Well, now. Here's something. And it's a good chance, this. The first red goes in. You know, he could get right back into the frame here.
One.
Surprised he rolled it in. Especially with the black below its spot. I didn't think he wanted to be on the black, really. Anyway, still going. What a chance he's found himself with here.
Which is sort of position where
8.
boot on the other foot, you know, you'd fancy Higgins to make the clearance. Mr. Black in frame 1 is Mr. Pink, albeit thinking about the cannon to the reds here. Could be punished for it. And as I say, Lou Haotian himself had made a few errors prior to that, but he can forget all about them if he wins the frame here.
Nine.
Wouldn't mind if you got an angle that was just off straight with the cue ball lower on that red, because then he could develop the other two and play up for blue or pink. So important shot positionally, this one. I think that's all right. That is maybe a bit more up the table than this, but
16.
even then, whether he likes it or not, he gets the 2 reds out. Just wouldn't want to push the top red onto a cushion. That's the only problem. Well, he'll be furious about that
16.
because it may not show him much, but he will be annoyed. Again, thinking about other things, bringing the reds out. John's dodged a bullet there.
One. Eight.
Well, Higgins has been given some help in this frame, it's got to be said, but he just wants to win it now. Red and black should do that.
9.
Yeah, the crowd happy to see it as well. A lot of support here, as you'd expect.
16.
Tim and Anthony McGill representing Scotland in this tournament now.
17.
It's amazing to think that despite Stephen Hendry's incredible record of success in the 90s,
24.
the first ranking event in Scotland wasn't until 1997, when he'd already won 6 world titles. There'd been a lot of high prestige invitation events in Scotland prior to that. But it's always been
26.
an area of great interest for the sport, and of course the likes of Higgins coming through, Alan McManus, Stephen Maguire, Chris Small, Graham Dott, all the players from Scotland who've won big tournaments since. kept that interest going. McGill, another one. High hopes for Liam Graham. Of course, he lost a bit of a heartbreaker last night to Sanderson Lamb. 1:30 in the morning, 4-3 from 3-1 up. It's happened to everyone, this man included. He's got to try and bounce back from adversity, which he's done in this frame. It wasn't a clean kill, but he's won it and he's on the scoreboard.
38.
I think you'll start to feel like he's settled into the match a bit better now. He looked edgy at first. Maybe the miss from Liu Haotian helped him there, and he took advantage.
Yeah, John Higgins off and running. Liu Haotian played a very good first frame. Mistakes crept in the second. So we're level at 1 each. 1-1 it is between John Higgins and Liu Haotian. We're into the last 16 now of this Scottish Open. John Higgins, who was runner-up in the first home nation Scottish Open back in 2016. He'd love, of course, success on home soil. He'd love success full stop. His last ranking title win was in early 2021. And he's had a few near misses since, and a lot of those near misses were 2 seasons ago, which means the points are coming off gradually during this season. So he's just slipped back to number 12 in the world, and obviously needs to keep his top 16 place for the Crucible. He's going to be in, looks like, the first 2 Players Series events, so it's highly likely he will.
I'm sure he's still thinking about that red that he missed, trying to come on the 2 reds above it. With a great chance to lead 2-0, Liu Haotian.
Yeah, Matt Hewitt is the rankings guru for the WPBSA, and he's got the provisional Crucible seedings, and that's just factoring in points coming off. Obviously, a lot of points can go on until April, so it can change. But Higgins is 12th on that list, actually, so at the moment he's looking good. Neil Robertson 30th, unbelievably.
That's not bad. Red has come down, but the black is covering it to the left middle.
It's a bit like the first frame in as much as reds have sort of scattered. Just a reminder, the match on table 1 after this one is Karen Wilson against Chris Wakelin. Wilson was 3-0 down earlier to Dave Gilbert. Managed to turn it round. And Wakelin had a great win actually over Sam Craigie, 4-0. Craigie played so well in the previous 2 rounds.
I think priority again will be getting the cue ball back down the table. Yeah, he couldn't pot it to the left middle. He hasn't got the cue ball back down the table though. That's opened up things quite a lot. If he could have the shot again, he might have hoped to get the cue ball underneath that cushion more so than he has. Haotian might be able to raise the butt of the cue and send the cue ball back down to roughly where it is, or certainly back down to this cushion. But as you can see, we'll raise the butt of the cue. It's the only way he can do it. John's going to play this red to the middle. It's a big shot to take on. Doing all kinds of damage if he misses it, but the rewards are going to be there if he gets it. Saying that, I mean, Kibble's a little bit close to the right cushion.
Surely he's got to be on something, hasn't he?
7.
Well, you'd have thought so, but not so sure, actually. Might be able to put the very first red on the right into the left middle. I'm not sure if anything's in the way of that. Well, it may go. It's very tight.
Well, I think that'll make him feel good. He found sort of a bit of trouble out of nowhere. I mean, the reds are just set up nicely, but anything can go wrong at any time. But John Higgins was let off the hook a little bit, I think, in that second frame. Haotian did not repeat his performance of the first frame and just gave Higgins enough chances. And maybe that's just settled Higgins now into the match. See the absolute focus there on his face as he played that pink.
14.
Thing about his top 16
15.
place, he's been there since 1995 without ever dropping out. It's a record that he'd love to extend. When you consider all the players that have come and gone over that 30-year period, it's quite incredible. He said his ambition is to be there when he's 50. Will he be 49 next year?
21. 22.
I think, well, I'd be surprised if he wasn't still, at the age of 50, able to compete at the highest level.
29.
Even though, as I said earlier, at some point, surely everyone will decline in what they can do. But I don't think he's not just going to disappear off the ranking list, is he? much too good a player for that, and
30.
too feared and revered also amongst his fellow players. And as you're saying, you know, on a good day, you wouldn't notice any difference from 20 years ago.
37.
Yeah, and we've seen that a few times this season. We've seen him produce his best. It's just, as I say, the consistency of then doing it round after round that's maybe been an issue. We saw it at the UK Championship, actually played well against Joe O'Connor and then was disappointing against Show Yu Long. Anyway, he's in nice position here to take the lead in this match.
Forty-four. $45. 51. 52.
Well, all the reds now at the other end of the table, still in play. So you'd like to think that he will go on and get the frame one here.
$54. 55.
Yeah, just landing on that red into the left middle. All of a sudden, he's rocking and rolling a bit now, isn't he, again?
61. $62.
So that pink puts John Higgins 68 in front with 67 on. And
68.
what he's done here is what he wasn't doing last night against Walden. He's actually taken the frame, it seems, in one visit. He was just sort of faltering when he got to 40 and 50 odd last night. Could do with this in. Yeah, so it's one snooker. It's just, that will annoy him because obviously
John
Lou
Higgins,
Haotian comes back
68.
now. But Higgins, a good 68.
Yep. Decent break. It was the first semblance of a real queuing shot eventually that he missed, but, you know, you can't argue with them polishing off as many as that, and now it's a snooker required.
the other Scotsman in the field not going so well. Anthony McGill 3-0 down to Sanderson Lamb, who's really moved up a pace this season. The winner of that match plays Noppin Sengham or Matt Selt. That's 1-0 to Sengham.
I mean, if Sanderson and Lamb won that match against Anthony McGill, I think that would be quite a big shock, wouldn't it? Especially at sort of as you get to a fairly sort of deep point in an event. And good luck to Sanderson Lamb should he win, because he's a nice lad and quite a good player. But, you know, maybe a first round you might get a shock like that, but now we're getting into the event. He made it to tomorrow, and that would be an effort. I think this frame is over. I should think Liu Haotian will concede.
Yeah, he's gone in off, left the red in the D.
Frame
So
conceded.
he has conceded the
Frame
frame.
John Higgins.
And John Higgins, helped by that earlier 68, has gone 2-1 in front. He could have been 2-0 down. Liu Haotian will look back on that second frame at a few missed opportunities. And Higgins has hit the front. Last 16 of Snooker's Scottish Open underway. John Higgins 2, Liu Haotian 1. It's still best of 7 to get through to the quarterfinals tomorrow. And the arena will look very different, of course. We'll be down to, well, 2 tables. The one will be used in the afternoon.
Thank you,
and
frame 4. John
they'll
Higgins
both
to
be
break.
used in the evening. So Higgins, after missing that black in frame 1, and he wasn't flawless in frame 2 either, but he did win it. He's improved really with each frame. He made 68 in the third. Of course, the players do a lot of travelling, particularly now China's back on the World Snooker Tour calendar. So to be here in Scotland with some of his family in attendance must be nice.
Oh, that's a very good pot. Knocked him one earlier, didn't he? When he could just sneak past the brown ball. It's starting to turn into a pretty good game. There have been balls missed, but now they're both warming to the task here. He does miss the odd shot that you don't expect, Liu Haotian, just when you think that he looks absolutely rock solid, and occasionally the wheel falls off. Black, he's got to play a delicate little cannon and ensure that he doesn't miss the pot. A bit like earlier, when he missed the ball into this pocket. Same thing. Divided concentration has done for him. He wouldn't miss that black if it was the last black, put it that way. But he's thinking about what he's doing with the cue ball. And again, don't get too much in the way of emotion from him, but inside I'm sure he's very disappointed.
One. Four.
Yeah, that's a nice recovery. You could have done with the cue ball going a little further. But even then, he could run this through and the red above the black. That would be his next pot at middle range. He's been prone to miss the odd one of these mid-range shots this week. Next one with something of a test of his cueing. Wouldn't expect him to miss it, but a few have gone astray.
Ten.
Well, he can cue it because he's not over the top of the pack of reds as he might have been. He is perhaps an awkward queuing over the pink, but maybe get the spider out and get level with that bottom red. In fact, the pink itself might be the answer. The pink is the angle on the pink that's just coming away from the red's a fraction. Just screw it in off the cushion. Good shot. Nicely done.
Yeah, he just seems to have grown in a bit of confidence as the match has gone on, and obviously he's been helped by the fact that Haotian has made a few errors as well at key moments just to give him openings.
Eighteen.
Oh, he forced it, didn't he? And he missed a black
Higgins, 18.
off the spot earlier on. The pink was on the black spot there. Same place he hit, but it was the extra effort I think he put in. He lost his accuracy on that one. Back to his chair and clearly disappointed without showing too much emotion again. Now, good shot this time from Haotian. Needs an angle on this black. That's good. Just where he wanted to be. Might have the shot to break the reds open if there's nothing else that he can play on directly. I think he's going to have to play it with a little bit of pace, get into the bunch of 8 reds here if he can. Ended up leaving perhaps a double, although the Keebles run a bit too far for that even.
8. Haotian, 8.
Kept travelling right in behind the brown.
was well played. Don't think he's touching anything. You know, he left to just glance off a red up the table. He's got a good look about it as well. That's a great safety shot. And that's covered everything. Haotian will need to be careful here. If he's rolling up to the half a dozen reds, it would be hard to think that he wouldn't leave something for John. I don't think this is that easy. Not so much hitting a ball, but keeping things safe.
Yeah, you see the great safety stats there. Higgins 94%.
Not bad, although it was always the problem. There was going to be something for John to go at, and it's a red up the table, albeit with slightly awkward cueing.
Just a bit of movement in his eye line, obviously playing towards the audience. Just someone taking their seat.
I mean, I don't know if it's his concentration that's weak or not, but there is movement. We can see it with our own eyes. But maybe there isn't quite the same level of being stopped stewards and all that. I'm not too sure. No, he's missed that one all right. He missed it in the bad way. Needs cover from the green. Definitely concentration wavering a bit. John Higgins there.
One.
I think he played further to the left. There was a red that went on the little bunch of five. The top red went into the right corner, but not at the speed he played it at. And I played that nicely, though. Nice recovery shot. And that red, of course, is still there if he can land on it this time. I think it was a more difficult shot than it looked.
11. 18. 19.
Red to the same pocket, the one at the bottom of the bunch this time. There you can see it sticking out of it. Does hit the ball nicely.
$26. 27. 34. 35.
'I think he just moved a couple of those reds. So perhaps to get onto the right-hand red into the right corner, position would be have to be very precise, because he can play the nudge. Definitely got the angle to hit into the three balls and make them potable. Of course, that shot can go wrong. And he's decided on the red to the middle after all that.
42. 43.
He's kept this break going well and needs two more pots to make it two each. Just double checking the scores, but that's the position. If he pots this red, Higgins needs snookers. Yeah, he's got himself together here. He's making a few errors prior to that, but well, could it be could it be another decider on this table? There's something about table one today. We've had 2 4-3s already.
$56. 57. 64. 66. 69.
Haotian made an 89 break in the first frame. Made a couple of errors in the next 2 frames, but has got it all back together again here.
73.
I mean, difficult to say he'll win because it's an argument that he's actually queuing a little better than John. There's a little bit more free-flowing than
78.
John in this break. He's missed a couple of shots when he's been thinking about position. Not in this break.
No, he's taken them very well.
84.
So, the black for a 91 clearance. Yeah, nicely done from Lou Haotian. With danger, John Higgins was taking control, but another close match here on table 1 today. All square at 2-2. 2. John Higgins had hit the front, but
Thank you,
pegged
fifth
back
frame.
Lou
Lou
Haotian
Haotian
at
to break.
91, the highest break of the match so far. Nice clearance.
Well, that red has travelled quite an alarmingly long way down the table off the break-off. I never quite understand how that happens because the cue ball's done exactly what it was meant to do. Red has flown down there. And, well, it's potable to the middle. I'm sure it is. Shot. An annoying break-off shot from Lou Haotian, though. I can't imagine that he quite believed that he's given this chance away straight away on the back of it. That nice break in the previous. Positionally, that was a good shot from Higgins as well.
Seven.
See, this is the break-off shot. The end red, the bottom red, it absolutely flies up the table. I mean, you see that shot, obviously every frame it's played more shot there than any other shot, but that red has just chased up the table after the cue ball in a way. John's last shot was not one of his better. Going to play a red here when he cue ball into the bunch. Might end up a blessing in disguise if he gets the reds open and gets on a colour. But oh dear, well, he's not done that.
15.
That's horror. Horror story.
Black ball. Foul. And now it's John Higgins 15. Lou Haotian 7.
No, I'm sure he'll consider a red to either middle pocket here. Probably left middle. That was odd, wasn't it? John got in and ended up getting himself snookered, and now the chance has come straight back to Lou Haotian. Very good. All the way.
Yeah, Higgins had the perfect view of that, if you can call it a perfect view, when you see the red heading towards the pocket. And he had the chance from that break-off shot to get going in this frame. It didn't come to much.
Well, he's done it again. That's the third time he's made that same mistake. He's considering the position and he's missed the pot. All of them in the right corner. 2 blacks and a red. And that's forgetting about the obvious bit and worrying about the follow-on point, and that's the position. It's a bad mistake to keep making.
One.
Well, we saw him in his chair and he was sort of looking at the other table and not too happy, but an immediate chance comes along.
Eight.
He's played on the red. It must just thread through between the pink and the bottom of the bunch. It's the right middle. Yep, as you can see, we'll go.
Nine.
And that American just made it. Big moment, I think, this, because again, but for that bad miss from Liu Haotian, this really would never have happened. And it will inspire John if he can take advantage and might deflate Liu. But getting onto his next red again is a problem. Red to left middle, I think he was looking at this time. Not for sure that he'll play on that one. It seems to go.
Sixteen.
Well, again, it's the same thing as people being allowed in his eye line.
And you can sense that he doesn't want to be affected by it. You know, he's not looking for a reason to...
Could you please quickly take your seats?
Yeah, I don't think he wants to get affected by it. I think he wants to blank it out and just ignore it. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. I know Mr. O'Sullivan.
Could you please take your seat?
We saw him, I think, in Brentwood. He was doing his crust, actually. Everyone was moving around. And he just sat in his chair until it all ended. John doesn't want to do that. He just wants to play, but he's definitely getting distracted. His concentration is not as it should be.
Well, this is the issue with multi-table events. You know, in a one-table situation, the audience wouldn't be allowed in until the end of frame, but it's 4 tables, so it's not really practical. Yeah.
Well,
John
he will
Higgins,
be
16.
very angry, I think. Very angry.
The thing
He's
is...
not showing much, is he? But I can tell that his frustration is building.
Well, it wasn't just one spectator. There was actually 3 lots of people there. And you can see, yeah, well, you can tell that picture tells its own story.
The people who are watching at home might think, well, you know, just had the snooker shootout and players, people shouting and waving their arms and all kinds of things. But I don't know, people moving behind your eye line, it does take your eye off the shot, I have to say that. I think at the shootout you have no choice but just get on with it. There's a lot going on. Anyway, moving on. That isn't a great shot from Liu Haotian.
Now, the problem for Higgins was that had it just been one person, then that would have been fine. But as I say, he sort of had to wait 3 times anyway. He may be coming back to the table soon. This is not ideal. Played it well.
6.
Well, I'm sure he's picked up on the frustration of Higgins. So this is a moment to strike, really, in the match and indeed psychologically.
Seven. Nine. Ten. Seventeen. 18.
And what a chance this is after all of that, all of the things that have happened in this frame, and significant error from both players.
Well, he was sort of shaking his head. He's okay on the red.
25.
Two points in front.
Twenty-six.
Just wondering whether pink will actually go when respotted here. To go nowhere else available. It'll either go on its spot or just below it. It's now what Liu Haotian is now looking at the same thing. Malgorzata Kanieska, the referee, is putting it in line. It's quite important where this goes because it might just tie up a couple of those reds.
Thank you. 32.
And then the left-hand red of the 3 will pot anyhow, so maybe it will just all be okay. He's not got a very good angle on this. Yeah, and as a consequence, he's not right on the
33.
blue either. So things just starting to unravel a little bit. Yes, he'll have a shot at this red, but yeah, he'll have to play it mid-range, probably go into the red and the pink. So again, he's seeing a shot that can go wrong, especially Liu Shan struggles a bit when he's got more than one thing to think about on the shot, and here
38.
the pot and the cannon. We've seen him miss 3 tonight like that. Easier than this. Well, 2 at once.
40.
Which, trying to process that. Was that an advantage? Either way, he would have required the left-hand red. But now he's not really got a way of getting on it because if the other had been on the table, he could have worked a plan out to be behind the red. He's got to screw across. Pace. Not there. The double might be.
46.
Almost a red ball frame, you feel. Whoever pots it could win the frame. John, even being behind, everything on its spot, you might fancy there's a way back into the frame if this double doesn't go in. Surely got to play it. Players these days do tend to take doubles like this on. I'm a little surprised he didn't play it. Maybe it's not his forte, knocking in doubles.
46.
It's not the worst shot in the world by any means. But he could have taken John Higgins out of the equation by knocking in the double. Not an easy one to hit either. He really needs to make good contact here and get lucky. Can't be sure where anything's going to finish. Oh! Well, that's one way of keeping the red safe.
Well, the applause you can hear in the background is for Sanderson Lamb, who is going to be through to his first ever ranking event quarter-final at the expense of Anthony McGill.
Oh, massive shot this one, though. Goodness me, look at this. He's rolling this in. Well, that is a magnificent shot. Yes, he flew the red. And that was all one thing, but the ball he's just rolled in there. He's guaranteed to lose a frame should he miss it. And that's a major moment in this match because Liu Shan refused the double, which could have won in the frame without Higgins coming back. He didn't play a poor shot at all. In fact, it was a good shot. But again, it brings your opponent back to the table. And then you're in the lap of the sort of fate, really, taking over. And it has.
Well, it's been an emotional roller coaster, this frame for Higgins. He got a bit annoyed with his concentration being affected. Missed that red to the left middle. The same pocket he's just knocked the green into. So a sudden turnaround. He was looking like he was struggling. Lou Haotian was on top. But knocking that red in from out the snooker has changed everything. But the green as well. It wasn't just a fluke, it was the good pot on the green. Pink and black needed for a 3-2 lead.
A little bit strong in pace. A couple of times he's put these onto the, as we look, the left-hand jaw. I'm not trying to tempt fate, I'm just saying what's happened.
Middle bit this time. Well, what an eventful frame it was. It's gone to John Higgins. A big steal for him. Big round of applause for him here in Edinburgh as well. He leads 3-2, and he needs one more for victory. So dramatic frame was in the end stolen by John Higgins. 3-2. He needs one more to advance to the quarterfinals of the Scottish Open. Lou Haotian can feel a bit hard done by there, I suppose. He played the safety, which was a good one. John Higgins fluked the red, potted a very good green, and then made the clearance. Lou Haotian probably wishes he'd taken that double on now. 90 minutes the match has been going. It's been full of incident. There's been mistakes as well, but it's all added to the intrigue. Now, where's the red going to finish? Oh, dear.
Yeah, immediately I think he can get through to this to pot it. John usually doesn't need a second invitation to win matches. He can get through. It must be tight, though, because he's a little wince. He might have to play it with a trace of left-hand side to sort of get round the bramble and make the potting angle. Yeah, exactly what he did do.
Seven. Eight.
Of course, the other good thing about getting down to tomorrow, and especially Saturday and Sunday, is the four-table setup and the movement and things that could distract will be certainly minimal. And of course, from Saturday, it is just one table in here. Tomorrow there will be two tables
13.
used in the evening session. I think Dave mentioned that earlier. But the arena will become more concentrated around the main match, of course. It's what the
14.
players like Higgins, Sullivan is not here, of course, but generally the star players have always liked it when there's just one table in there. That's why the Masters is so popular. Proper event. This will be so at the weekend. It's an event well worth winning. Full ranking event.
21.
Big prize money, the cut-off before some big events in the new year. Great opportunity for somebody.
Yes, and I'm sure it would mean a
22.
lot to Higgins to win the Stephen Hendry Trophy. I'm sure there'll be a time when there'll be a trophy named after him.
$29. 30.
Yeah, the scoreboard here appears to have caught up with John's actual score. I don't know what his reaction will be if he was to win. I don't think he'll be overjoyed again, but you know, he keeps winning and
37.
not being happy. But you know, he keeps on winning. He'll be a champion on Sunday, and all the rest of it won't matter. He's clearly not playing at his absolute best, not even close. But that's almost a compliment in there somewhere, isn't there? When he can still beat players. He hasn't won this match yet, but he might be about to.
38.
Well, he likes to play pick-off reds and build a nice lead before disturbing them. So we're coming up to that key moment now in terms of whether he wins the match here.
44.
That has not worked out quite right. He's, I mean, he gave it every chance there.
51.
Everything was opened up. But as you can see, he's not on one. Just when he was probably one shot away there from securing the frame with good position. I can't think that he played it in any way poorly. I thought it was a very good shot. But you'll always need a bit of luck with breaking the bunch.
John Higgins, 51.
Well, it's good 51. I guess in the cold light of day, he had the big bit of luck at the end of the last frame. But even so, I'm sure would have felt he deserved to be on one there. He played it well. I'm sure he tried to push that red safe. It didn't really go safe. But anyway, 51 the lead. Higgins looking for one more opening here, surely, to get this one. But they're all there as well for Lu Haotian if he gets a chance to make it 3-3. And that would be our third decider, of course, on this table today. Higgins just pushing another red safe there.
Yeah, trying to lock down the frame, isn't he? A Selby trick, which of course he has done so well, you know, protecting a 51-point lead by just making the table not conducive to a clearance is basically what match play is all about, isn't it? Obviously, it's better if you can just clear them all up in one visit, but the next best thing is to make it hard for your opponent. Chance to just nail another red to the cushion there. Clever shot from John. You know, he's making the frame awkward now.
Well, this lady is a big John Higgins fan. We saw her here last night until 1:45. It looked like it might have gone wrong because Ricky Walden got the snooker he needed, but John Higgins did hold on and win that frame. He is, of course, the last remaining Scottish player in the tournament after McGill was beaten earlier.
And he wants to bring the red out, but he's got to be careful of what he plays here. He's not really achieved a great deal with that shot. I mean, at least he's kept it safe, in fairness. Just got to be careful, John, here, that he doesn't go in off in the top right pocket. He's playing into that corner. Yeah, he played it thicker than the in-off angle. Not brilliant, though. How's Liu Shan going to get back into this frame from here? How's he going to do it? He's going to show a little bit of patience, but he might have to take on a risky shot. And then there is a way back in. Of course, a further miss from here might be end of match, though. Not sure if he even went for the pot there or not, quite honestly. Probably not. Dear me, oh dear, that's I mean, it was a pretty uncomplicated situation there that John was in, and he's made a terrible hash of it. He's brought Rez into play, and he's not kept it safe. It's a terrible shot for John. So out of character. I wonder if that last shot of John's is going to cost him, you know, because he's so unlike him. He had the frame almost under lock and key, and he's completely released here. What a chance to get back into the frame. About it. Just looked to be a question of just getting the match won. This shot. He's brought that red into play, and he's basically left him a choice of about 4 reds to pot. Not as if he was in huge trouble there, John.
Six. Seven.
Well, he's concerned. Obviously, he's got one red nailed to a cushion, but he had the frame. It was certainly in his control until that last shot he played.
$14.
Well, interestingly here, I don't know if he played to finish with that angle, but the keyboard kind of heads towards those two reds here naturally in playing the pink. And he will need them in play. He's got no choice, I think, but to try and nudge them out. That's all right. That's fine. He's got to play the one he's closest to because you never get a better shot at it. It's quite narrow, fairly acute angle, but he's right behind it. Got to play it. Got to play it. When is he going to get a better shot at that red than now? Absolutely right behind it.
$21. $27. $28. $33.
Yeah, he's not part of the plan, playing on it into the yellow pocket, I don't think, and the two balls are close together. It didn't look too bad on there, does it? But you see the cue ball and object ball very close up. This is not an easy shot. Well, he's not going for it. So I think he should have played that red earlier on into the left middle. I know it's fairly acute angle, but I mean, as I say, the keeper was in the perfect place to take it on there and then. So now he's still 18
Haotian,
behind.
33.
Quite a valuable 18-point lead of John's. He's still.
The good news for Haotian is Higgins will now need all three reds, including the one on the cushion.
That red again, but he'd probably play it down the bottom from this angle if he's going to play it at all. Now, if he plays it in the middle, I'd be very surprised. No, he's playing off the other red, so he's keeping things tight now. He's almost gone different plan, as Dave pointed out. John will need all three reds, but you know, he's still definitely the favourite under the circumstances. Handy lead of 18 points.
Yeah, this is where Higgins' safety game, great safety game, may be the factor if he can just earn one more chance.
just put everything safe, basically. And he left the shot at the red. The last thing he wanted to do.
Not taken many long ones on tonight, just threes, probably 2 of them.
Didn't hit it badly. He knocked a few long reds into the left corner last night. But as you say, not as confident as he might be on these, but he was quite close. It's when you miss them and don't even hit the jaws, that's when you it can affect your mind.